The Zarnak Empire had explored hundreds of planets. They had seen burning suns, frozen moons, and planets filled with poison, but nothing compared to Class 15 death worlds. These planets were known for one thing: certain death. No one returned from them, not even machines. Storms lasted for weeks. Gravity crushed metal. Strange life forms lived in the dark. Most alien species avoided them. Even the bravest warriors never dared to land on such worlds. But the Zarnak Empire was different. They were proud. They believed they were the strongest race in the galaxy. So when a strange signal came from a Class 15 death world, they sent a team to investigate. The mission was led by Commander Vek. He was tall, covered in dark green armor, and had fought in many wars. His ship, the Finder, landed carefully on the surface of the death world. Dust and ash covered the sky. The wind screamed like a wild beast. The ground cracked under their feet. "Stay close," Vek ordered his team. "We are not alone here." The scanners beeped. A large object was buried deep under the ground about 3 kilometers east. It was not natural. It looked like a crashed spaceship. A big one. "Is it Zarnak technology?" one of the crew asked. "No," Vek said. "It's older. Unknown design." They moved toward the location. Strange creatures watched them from the shadows, 6-legged beasts with red eyes, but none attacked. It was almost like the planet itself was waiting. After 3 hours of walking through sharp rocks and toxic air, they reached the crash site. It was a massive ship, half buried under black stone. It looked like it had been there for a long time, maybe years. Parts of the ship were melted. Others were torn open by claws. The symbol on the side was scratched, but Vek could still read it. It was not Zarnak, not any alien race they knew. It said Earth Command, Exploration Vessel USS. Valervek stepped back. "Earth?" he said softly. "Who are they?" one soldier asked. Vek shook his head. "They are old stories. Some say humans were the first to explore the stars, but they disappeared long ago. Many think they are extinct. But if this is their ship," the soldier said, "were they here before us?" Vek didn't answer. He walked closer and touched the ship's side. It felt cold, too cold. Suddenly the ship's lights flickered on. "Motion detected," a robotic voice spoke from inside. "Unauthorized entry. Please identify." The team froze. Weapons were raised. The robotic voice continued. "Warning, this vessel is protected. Leave now." "What is this?" Vek whispered. "The AI is still working?" Before anyone could speak, the ship's door opened slowly with a loud hiss. Darkness waited inside. "Commander, we should return," one soldier said, fear in his voice. "No," Vek said. "We've come this far. Prepare to enter." As they stepped into the ship, they saw signs of life. Old food packets, broken tools, burnt-out power cells, and written on a metal wall in large, scratched letters. "We survived. We fought. We warned you." Vek felt a chill go down his spine. Something terrible had happened here, and something was still watching them. Then they heard it. A soft sound, like breathing, coming from deep inside the ship. Hook ends. Who left that message? What happened to the human crew? And why is the ship still alive? The team stood still at the entrance of the ship. The hallway inside was dark and quiet, but there was a strange energy in the air. Something about the ship felt alive, not like a normal machine. The walls hummed softly, as if the ship was breathing. Commander Vek raised his hand. "Switch on the lights." One of the Zarnak soldiers touched a control panel. A few overhead lights flickered on. They were old and weak, but just enough to light the narrow path ahead. The floor was dusty. Small footprints led down the hall. "Someone walked here recently," one of the team members said. Vek nodded. "Let's move carefully." They walked slowly, stepping over loose wires and broken panels. The ship was in bad shape, but it still had power. That alone was unusual. Most crashed ships die within hours. This one had been here for years and still worked. As they moved deeper, they passed old rooms. Some had bunk beds, others had screens with blinking lights. One room had a large table with maps of distant planets. But everything was covered in dust and silence. Then, they reached a wide door at the end of the hallway. It was slightly open. From inside, they heard a low humming sound. Commander Vec placed his hand on the door and pushed it open. The room was filled with glowing screens. In the center was a tall machine, clearly old human technology. Around it were chairs, books, broken tools, and a wall filled with photos. Pictures of people smiling, families, friends, all human. One picture had words written on it. Together, till the end. Earth Command, Crew of Valor. The Zarnak soldiers looked at each other. These weren't just explorers. They had lived here. Suddenly, the lights in the room turned bright. The screens changed. A voice spoke again, this time softer. "Welcome back, Captain Reeve. Status: unknown visitors detected. Preparing safety protocols." A chair on the far side of the room turned slowly, and sitting there was a human. His eyes opened. He didn't move at first, just stared at the aliens with calm, tired eyes. The team froze. The human blinked slowly, then stood up. His movements were weak, like someone waking from a long sleep. "You're not Earth Command," he said, voice dry. Vec stepped forward. "We are explorers, from the Zarnak Empire. Who are you?" The man gave a tired smile. "Name's Reeve, captain of this ship, or what's left of it." "You survived here, alone?" one soldier asked, surprised. Reeve looked around. Not always alone, there were others, good people. But time changes things. Vec asked, "What happened to your crew?" Reeve didn't answer right away. He walked to one of the screens and tapped a few buttons. A map of the planet appeared. Several red dots blinked on it. "This planet isn't what it seems," he said. "It pulls things in, ships, signals, even thoughts. We didn't crash. We were pulled down." "But why?" Vec asked. Reeve looked at them seriously. "This ship carries something important. Something Earth was testing, a machine that can bend space. It broke something we didn't understand." He pointed to the floor beneath them. "The heart of the ship is still active. If it wakes fully, it can break this world apart." "Then why not turn it off?" one Zarnak asked. Reeve shook his head. "It's not that easy. We tried, we failed. Now the ship protects it on its own." The room went silent. Then a sound echoed through the hallway. A light knock. Then another. Someone, or something, was walking inside the ship. Reeve turned to them. "You brought attention by coming here. Now the ship is awake. You need to decide. Leave now, or see what lies deeper. But understand this. Some secrets were meant to stay hidden." The Zarnak team looked at each other. Curiosity burned in their minds, but so did fear. The ship was not just a wreck. It was something more. Something waiting. Hook ends. What did Earth hide inside this ship? What is waking up? And is there still time to leave before it's too late? The quiet sound in the hallway grew louder, soft, slow steps like something carefully moving closer. The team turned toward the door, waiting, but nothing came through. Just the hum of the ship. Just the sound of air moving through old vents. Reeve walked past the Zarnak crew and sealed the door behind them. "We're safe. For now," he said calmly. Vec stared at him. "What is out there?" Reeve looked at the blinking red lights on the screen. "This ship has sensors that reach into the planet. Some things never stopped moving down there. Some never left." The room grew colder. The crew could feel it, even inside their armored suits. One of the soldiers checked a device on his arm. "Commander, I'm reading strange energy under the floor. It's rising." Reeve nodded slowly. "That's the core. It's starting to respond." Respond to what? Vec asked. Reeve turned and looked Vec in the eyes. To you, to your presence. This ship recognizes new minds, it listens, and sometimes it remembers what happened before. He stepped toward the center console and pressed a few buttons. A screen lit up with a date. Years ago, a recording began to play. A younger Reeve appeared. His voice was fast, stressed. Day 59. We've tried everything. The system refuses to shut down. The core is learning. It reacts when we get close. We've lost. The recording cut off. Reeve stood. Silent. Vec broke the silence. Why didn't Earth come back for you? Reeve gave a faint smile. Maybe they tried. Maybe they were too late. Or maybe they were afraid of what they made. The ground shook gently just for a second. Then the lights dimmed again. Another screen came to life. A long hallway appeared on it, deep inside the ship. A door at the end was opening very slowly. That's the lab, Reeve whispered. What's inside? A Zarnak soldier asked. No one knows anymore, Reeve answered. After the last test, we sealed it. No one's been in there since. Not even me. Vec looked at the screen. If it's waking up, we need to see it. Reeve sighed. If you go in there, you might not come back the same. Vec turned to his team. We didn't come all this way to stop now. Reeve looked at them for a moment. Then he pressed a button and the door on the screen closed again. I'll take you there myself, he said. But I want you to understand something first. He opened a nearby panel and pulled out a small metal cube. It glowed softly, almost like it was breathing. This was Earth's experiment, Reeve explained. A device meant to fold space, to create shortcuts between stars. But when it activated, it didn't just reach space, it reached something else. Vec stared at the cube. Something else? Reeve nodded. A place outside normal space. A place where time and matter don't behave as they should. That's what pulled you here? A soldier asked. Yes. And now that you're here, it's listening again. Another sound echoed in the ship. This time, a low humming. Not from machines, but from inside the walls. Reeve closed the panel. We should move, before the ship decides to show us more than we're ready for. The team followed him through a narrow passage. Every few steps, a new part of the ship lit up, reacting to their presence. The walls showed brief flashes of memories, images of people running, lights flickering, shadows moving past cameras. It was like the ship remembered everything. After a long walk, they reached a locked door. Reeve placed his hand on it. The door scanned him and opened with a soft tone. Inside was a round chamber. At the center floated a device made of smooth metal, shaped like a star, spinning slowly in the air. It gave off no light, no heat, yet everyone felt its presence deeply, like it was thinking. Reeve stepped back. This is what you came for, he said quietly. Now the question is, what will you do with it? Hook ends. The device waits, watching without eyes. What does it want? Why does it react to thought? And what happens if someone touches it? The floating device at the center of the chamber made no sound. It moved slowly, spinning in place, yet it seemed to pull every eye toward it. Commander Vec stepped closer. He could feel a light pressure in the air, like something unseen was pushing back, testing him. What is it doing? One of the Zarnak soldiers whispered. Reeve kept his distance. It doesn't speak in words. It speaks through thought. When we got too close before, it showed us things. Vec turned to him. What kind of things? Reeve looked down. Memories that weren't ours. Places we never visited. Voices we didn't know. Some people couldn't handle it. Others changed. The floating star-like object pulsed softly. The hum in the room grew deeper, as if the walls were joining the sound. A screen nearby lit up on its own. This time, there was no video. Just shapes. Strange symbols and glowing lines that moved like a living pattern. The Zarnak scientists began recording everything. "We've never seen a language like this," one said. Reeve stepped forward slowly. "That's because it's not a language. It's a message, or a warning, or maybe both." Suddenly a warm wave of air moved through the room, gentle but strong enough to make them all take a step back. And then it began. The room changed. The walls faded. The lights disappeared. The floor beneath them turned dark, like space. Stars appeared. Around them, real, endless stars floating in every direction. It was as if they were no longer inside the ship. The crew looked around in silence. Vec reached out to touch one of the stars, but his hand passed through it. "It's not real," he said. "A projection?" Reeve's voice was calm. "No, not a projection. This is its way of speaking." In the distance, a planet appeared, then another, then hundreds more, all circling around a single glowing center. The center pulsed. A sound not loud but deep filled the air, and then the stars began to vanish one by one. Each faded into nothingness. "What's happening?" Azarnak asked. "It's showing us something," Reeve whispered. "What it saw, or what it caused." Only one planet remained in the dark sky now, Earth. It hovered alone, quiet and blue. Then slowly another image appeared behind it. This time, not space, but the inside of a lab. A group of human scientists standing around the floating device. Their faces looked worried. Some were shouting, but there was no sound. One scientist stepped forward and reached toward the device. The moment his hand touched it, the image froze. Everything stopped. The stars, the room, the sound. They were back in the chamber again. Vec took a deep breath. "What did we just see?" Reeve answered. "It's memory, or maybe it's dream, or maybe it's warning." The device spun slower now. It almost looked tired. One of the Zarnak scientists stepped forward. "We should take it with us, study it." Reeve shook his head. "It doesn't want to be moved. Every time we tried before, it resisted. The ship itself reacted. This entire ship might be part of its mind." The crew stood in silence. Then Vec said, "But why was it made? What did Earth want from it?" Reeve looked at him. "They wanted to travel faster than light, to control space, to skip through time. But the device found something else instead. Something no one was ready for." The humming sound returned, soft and low. A new image appeared in the air. This time, a single word. "Listen," Vec turned to his team. "It's not just a machine, it's aware." One of the scientists whispered, "If it's aware, it might have its own plan." Reeve nodded. "It's waiting for someone to understand it." The door behind them closed, on its own. Lights along the floor lit a path forward. Reeve looked at Vec. "It wants to show you more, but be careful. The deeper we go, the more it remembers. And sometimes, memories don't want to stay silent." Hook ends. Where does the ship lead next? What else does the device remember? And what happens when memory becomes reality? The path before them lit up, each step glowing brighter as they moved forward. The walls seemed to hum, vibrating with a gentle energy. It was as if the ship was alive, guiding them deeper, urging them to uncover more. Reeve walked slowly, leading the team down the narrow corridor. The Zarnak soldiers followed in silence, their eyes scanning every corner. The air smelled faintly of something old, yet fresh, a strange mixture of age and mystery. "It's almost like the ship is alive," one of the soldiers whispered. Reeve nodded without turning back. "In a way, it is. The device we saw, it's not just technology, it's a part of the ship, and the ship is a part of it. They share a mind, a memory." Vec stepped up beside him. "A memory?" "Yes, the ship remembers everything. The crew, the experiments, the things that shouldn't have been done. And it remembers us." The sound of soft footsteps echoed through the hall behind them, though no one was following. The deeper they went, the more the air changed. It felt thicker, charged with a quiet tension. The walls curved inward and the lights flickered, growing dimmer, casting long shadows on the floor. And then, without warning, the walls parted, revealing a massive chamber at the end of the corridor. Inside was an enormous sphere, glowing faintly, with an inner light. "This is it," Reeve said, stopping. "The core of the ship, the heart of everything." The sphere floated gently above the floor, suspended by nothing, yet completely stable. It hummed softly, almost like a heartbeat. There was no sound, no vibration, but its presence filled the room, thick and heavy. "What does it do?" one of the Zarnak soldiers asked. "It bends space," Reeve answered. "The same way the device showed us the stars. But it's more than just a machine. It's a doorway, a gateway to places that shouldn't exist." Vec stepped closer, eyes narrowed. "A doorway to what?" Reeve looked at him. "That's what we need to find out. But you have to understand, this isn't just a tool. It's a living thing. The longer you stay near it, the more it will know you. It learns your thoughts, your fears, your desires." A soft click echoed in the chamber as the sphere shifted slightly. It began to pulse, faster now, its light growing brighter with each beat. The Zarnak crew exchanged nervous glances. "Are you saying it can read us?" one of the soldiers asked, voice barely above a whisper. Reeve nodded slowly. "Yes, and not just read. It can show you things, memories, futures, possibilities, but sometimes what it shows isn't what you expect." The sphere's light suddenly intensified, and a loud hum filled the room. The walls shimmered, as if the air itself was bending. Before anyone could react, a burst of images flooded the room, flashes of cities, landscapes, people, some familiar, some strange. The images were so vivid they seemed to leap out of the air. Vec took a step back, his breath catching in his throat. The images felt too real, too close. One image appeared in front of him, a vision of Earth. It was a place he knew, a place he had seen many times before, but this time, it was different, darker. The cities were empty, streets were quiet, and in the distance, a strange, unfamiliar sky hung overhead. A soft voice filled the air. "This is your world, Commander, but it is not the world you know." Vec turned sharply. "What is this? What's happening?" The voice didn't answer. Instead, the image changed. The city was no longer empty. People, human people, walked through the streets, but they weren't normal. Their faces were blank, their movements slow, as though they were controlled by something. Vec clenched his fists. "This isn't possible. This is just a vision." Reeve's voice came from behind him, low and serious. "No, it's more than that. The ship is showing you possibilities. It's showing you what could happen." Vec's heart raced as the vision changed again. Now the streets were filled with soldiers, Zarnak soldiers marching side by side with humans moving toward something. A deep rumbling sound echoed in the distance, and the image shifted once more. This time the soldiers were no longer marching. They were running. They were escaping. The city, the Earth they knew, was falling apart. And as the last image faded, the voice spoke again. "Time is not what it seems here. Choices will change everything." The room went silent. The sphere's light dimmed once more, leaving only the soft hum of energy. Vec stood still, his mind racing. What was that? Why show us this? Reeve turned to him, his face pale. "The ship is warning you. The device, the core, it shows what's possible, but it doesn't always show the truth." The Zarnak soldiers were watching, still unsure of what they had just witnessed. Vec took a deep breath. "We need answers. If this device can change time, we have to understand it. We have to know what it can do, before it's too late." Reeve looked at the sphere, his expression unreadable. "Be careful what you wish for. The device doesn't just show the future. Sometimes, it makes it real." Hook ends. The images are more than just visions. What if the future it shows is already on its way? What if the choices they make will decide Earth's fate? And what happens when the ship starts to remember them? The air in the chamber felt thick with tension. The hum of the sphere had stopped, but its presence was more intense than ever. It seemed to be watching them, waiting for the next move, as though it understood every thought in their minds. Vec stood still, trying to process the images that had filled his mind just moments ago. The future he had seen, Earth in chaos, people turning against each other, felt all too real. Was it just a warning? Or was it something the ship had already seen coming? What if it's true? One of the Zarnak soldiers asked, his voice trembling. What if that's the future we're headed toward? Reeve shook his head, his eyes fixed on the sphere. The ship shows possibilities. The future is not set in stone, but it is showing us what might happen. We need to make sure we understand it before it's too late. Vec turned to him, his gaze sharp. Understand it? How? The ship's already shown us things we don't even understand. Reeve's lips tightened. We need to find out more about how it works. This sphere, this core, it's not just a machine. It's a key. A key to unlocking something far bigger than we can imagine. Something that might explain why it's been hidden away for so long. The room was still, the air heavy with uncertainty. The Zarnak soldiers looked to Vec, waiting for a decision. They had all seen something in those visions, something that was hard to ignore. Vec took a deep breath. We need to keep moving forward. The ship is guiding us for a reason. If it's showing us the future, then we need to know why. What is it preparing us for? They walked slowly toward the sphere, which remained suspended, waiting. Each step felt more significant than the last. It was as if the ship was drawing them in, closer to something they had never seen before. The walls around them began to shift, again, subtly at first, like the ship was adjusting its shape, responding to their presence. Then slowly, images began to appear. This time not in the air, but directly on the walls of the chamber. They moved like projections, shifting with a fluid, graceful motion. The first image was familiar, Earth, just as they had seen before. But this time it was different. It was a world on the edge of destruction, but not from anything the crew had expected. The images showed natural disasters, strange phenomena, earthquakes that split the ground open, storms that swallowed cities whole, and forests burning from fire that seemed to come from the sky itself. The Earth isn't ready for this, Reeve whispered, his face pale. But then the images shifted again. This time, they showed humans. Not the fearful, helpless people they had seen before, but strong, determined figures working together. They were repairing the damage, fighting back against the disaster that seemed inevitable. Their faces were filled with purpose, their eyes burning with the will to survive. They're fighting back, Vec said, his voice low but full of conviction. The Zarnak soldiers moved closer, each one captivated by the images on the walls. We've seen these people before, one of them muttered. But these humans are different, stronger. Reeve nodded, his mind racing. These humans are the ones the ship wants us to see. They're the key. They represent the choice, how we react to the challenges ahead. The room pulsed once more, the walls flickering as the images changed again. This time, the scene was darker. Earth was still struggling, but now there was a shadow in the background. An unknown force, something moving behind the scenes, manipulating events. A voice, soft and distant, echoed in the chamber. Do you see it now? The force that binds everything? Vec's eyes narrowed. What does that mean? What force? The voice didn't answer. Instead, the shadows on the wall grew deeper, swirling around the images of Earth and the humans who fought to save it. It was as if the force was taking shape, an invisible presence that controlled the flow of time, space, and everything in between. This is what the ship is trying to show us, Reeve said, his voice steady but full of awe. It's not just showing us the future. It's showing us the balance, the choices that must be made. Every action we take, every decision ripples through time, creating new paths, new possibilities. Vec took another step toward the center of the chamber, his mind focused. So we have a choice. We can either let things happen as they will, or we can act. We can shape the future. The sphere above them pulsed again as if in agreement. Its light flickered, sending beams of energy across the room. And then, for the briefest moment, everything went silent. And in that silence, the crew heard something, a sound faint but distinct. It was a heartbeat, slow, steady, and strong. The ship, the device, the core, they were alive, not just with energy, but with purpose. A purpose that was tied to the future of Earth. And now, it was asking them to make a choice. Vec turned to the team, his voice resolute. We can't let this force control us. We have to find a way to control it, to make sure that the future we saw doesn't become a reality. We have to fight for the future of Earth. Reeve looked at him, his face, serious but determined. Then let's do it, together.